above. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Johnny Strike. And he'll be accompanied by Hank Rink on some sound effects. And over there on guitar, it's Chalupa X.
Yeah! Love the jacket.
Crazy Carl's thing. 7:45 a.m. My first intake at the methadone clinic, Raven, was a 25-year-old stripper. She spilled some coffee on my desk, giggled, and made a half-hearted attempt to wipe it up with her sleeve. Her right eye was swollen, and I thought she'd been slugged. No, she said, I tried to hit a vein in my neck, but I was drunk. Raven wiped her runny nose with the other sleeve. I thought maybe I hit an artery because I went into a seizure. This morning my eye was all swollen and shit. Are you working, I asked? She said no, that some money was owed, and then added huffily, I can work whenever I want. For something to do besides the mundane paperwork, I decided to ask these incoming clients what the most exciting thing was they'd ever done. I asked Raven, and she said, oh, I don't know. 8:30 a.m. 33-year-old homeless man who stank. Something like compost and rotting rubber sandals. I directed my fan at him. What's the most exciting thing you've ever done, I asked, trying not to breathe through my nose. Well, when I went to Tucson with my dad, he said. I just turned 14. My life's been pretty boring. After he left, I sprayed the chair with Mediair, a biological odor eliminator. Brian stuck his head into my office and said he'd do Dark City Man's intake. I took a look in the waiting room. Long black coat, black hat, something like a bowler, shaved head, pale as chalk, definitely reminiscent of the aliens in the film. My office was saturated with the soapy smelling Mediair. Brian sniffed. Had it right when 9:17 a.m. 50-year-old man called Jacko. Most exciting thing? That had to have been the time I parachuted from a plane at 2,500 feet. I was a bartender then. My boss was always getting us together for some damn fool thing. 45-year-old homeless man who looked 20 years older. His premature aging was due a lot to lifestyle, poor diet, lack of medical attention, and so forth. Most exciting? Probably when I was in the Navy. I was on a submarine crew in Hawaii. One time we surfaced and a whole group of dolphins appeared and started leaping over the sub. That was pretty exciting. 9:53 a.m. 36-year-old man who, in spite of his Wild West mustache, looked his age, maybe even younger. Nickname Slim. Exciting? What, like fucking a supermodel or something? Okay, I said, did you? No, I went with a few dancers though, but that was a long time ago. During the intake, I could see that Slim was still thinking it over. What, like winning the lotto or something? 12:15 p.m. 68-year-old ex-con, ex-biker, moniker Hog. Most exciting? Oh, I guess when I went to Germany. I went to this huge castle out there in the Black Forest. I had to walk for miles to get to it, but it was worth it. There was a moat, catapults, even some wild boar. 52-year-old man who bore an uncanny resemblance to Shakespeare. Exciting? 2 sexual encounters, said William. There was one fine lady who made love to me. She got on top and rubbed her breast right in my face. The other, a nymphette, began the lovemaking by sucking on my toes. I'll never forget either of them. 51-year-old computer programmer Nick screwed up his face and gave the question some thought. He laughed, oh, maybe the first time I tried heroin. Later he came to my office to say, no, I believe it was the time I did some acrobatic flying with my brother. But that was 20-some years ago. 1:03 p.m. 23-year-old homeless man who told me he camped by a phone booth and used the number as his own. I told him about a family in Morocco who lived in a wrecked car and used the license plate as their mailing address. Most exciting? I fired off a 50 caliber BMG machine gun out in the desert once. 1:23 p.m. 73-year-old ex-seaman, a ghostly character right out of Conrad. His arms were smeared black with crude tattoos. It had to have been the time I swam in the Mariana Trench, he said. It's the deepest area of sea in the world. 2:10 p.m. 44-year-old Paroli. His dark reptilian eyes scanned the room in a series of quick moves. People call me slick, he said, because I'm always hitting licks. Most exciting? Some people feel with their crimes, I said, to prompt him, and his eyes danced. Yeah, Slick agreed. I've done lots of stuff, robberies. I shot a guy in the ass once. He snickered. I love guns, but I can't have them anymore. Once I was shanghaied by this nut who was going to kill me, his old lady, and then probably himself. He had me driving her car. He was in the back with a shotgun. In the rearview mirror, I seen that he dropped his cigarette. I slammed the brakes and me and the bitch jumped him. He begged me not to kill him, Slick snorted. Then the cunt comes back to my place for his fucking jacket. I had my gun, I told him to get the fuck out, then I shot him in the ass. Slick's smile contrasted weirdly with his vacant stare. 2:15 p.m. My last intake of the day was a timid man with short black hair, wearing red-tinted black-framed glasses. He was 32 and received an SSI check that was almost as much as I made working full-time. When I asked Carl the most exciting thing question, he asked if he could close the office door, which was just barely open. After shutting the door, he sat back down and in a hushed voice said, I can't tell you. I have to show you. It's something I recently acquired. Although we were forbidden to fraternize with clients, I agreed to meet him in a cafe a few blocks away. When I arrived, Carl quickly steered me down the street, anxious to show me his most exciting thing. It's not far, he said, for the second time, on the fourth block of the walk. Finally, we stopped, and he gestured to a withered apartment building that sent a short, melancholy shiver over me. Around the back, we traveled a path through a mostly dirt rough yard. At the end was a concrete shed. When we got to the door, Carl turned to me. I'll have to charge you $2. What? I had come this far, so I peeled off 2 George Washingtons. He opened a serious-looking padlock and then the door itself. He turned to me again. Please wait for just one moment, I'll be right back. Could Carl be dangerous? There was something downright creepy going on. When he returned, I insisted that I follow him in. Carl led the way with a small flashlight, even though the room could be made out from a dim light on the other side. Another, even dimmer light shone from inside an old-style tent. Well, you paid your money, he said. You're entitled to your look. He directed his flashlight beam at the opening of the tent. With one eye on Carl and one eye on the tent, I approached the entrance, squatting down to completely pull back the flap. A stuffed 2-headed calf greeted me. One head looked right, the other left. The eyes were dark and sad and strange. The floor was covered with straw, and there was even a bucket of water. Carl was staring at the floor as I took one last look at the freak of nature. Outside, Carl smiled beatifically. He's from God, you know, he said softly. And he still has the power of God, even though he died. Sure, Carl. I thanked him and went on my way. Thank you.
Well, you've certainly been an audience. Thanks for coming out. Please stick around and hang out with Rudos and Rubes and Mike and Johnny Strike and Rain Graves and Brontes.